Okay, just getting back to the screen, and no, it's not looking any prettier. 17,360, 370. We are still struggling, very close to the lows of the session, so not much changing. Prakash, I want to talk to you about this big bank sell-off in India. I mean, it has nothing to do with the worries that are playing out across Wall Street or across Silicon Valley, but I don't know, I mean, people have chose to just go out there and dump bank stocks. What do you make of it, and what would you buy, since there seems to be a sale of sorts that's underway?
So, Survi, somehow this SVB accident of sorts has got kind of underplayed, if you ask me. I mean, there's been not much of news flow around it, except for the call that, the CEO of the group, Greg Becker, had, the 10-minute, it didn't last for beyond 10 minutes, actually. And if you listen to the call or the transcript, you'll realize that all he's doing is imploring upon his depositors and investors to continue supporting them the way they've done over the last 40 years of the bank's existence. So, and he doesn't have a solution to kind of assuage anything of the issue. The reason is, this whole problem which Rima and you were discussing at the start of the show, it's something which has the potential to snowball into something bigger. Because the moment the startups start getting strapped for money and that money is locked into some deposits in these banks, there's a run on the bank. And that's what Silvergate has actually given a very clear indication or a precursor to what could happen. If that were to happen, it's going to lead to so much of job loss, chaos, defaults, that the recession that we are afraid of in the US will actually get accelerated. So this is just symptom of the malaise that was there when free money was distributed, and now you have 500 basis points interest rates higher than that. So it's a huge mismatch and too soon a time or too short a time frame, and that's something which people are worried about. The banks that you see, the losses in PSU banks in India, which you see, it's 11% from the start of January of this year, is primarily because of the FI exodus from most of the banks, even the private sector banks, the heavyweights like HDFC and all. I think today you'll see a huge FI exit number, and which might not be evenly matched with the DIA number. That's exactly where the market is struggling. So I think if you have to buy, you have to kind of look at some of these banks that you buy with the medium to long term, and hope that the recession fears don't cascade or snowball into something which is much more global. So I think it's just a money flow or a liquidity flow issue at this point in time, but I hope it remains that and gets sorted. Otherwise, you'll probably see lower levels, and you'd probably start finding better value at that point in time. But I would give it a couple of more days for the dust to settle, probably this weekend. Come Monday, and things could look very different.
Right now, at least, the higher interest rates have hit the frothier part of the markets. That's the tech startup space and even the cryptos. Wanted to get your thoughts, Prakash, on NTPC. This is a stock which this week has rallied 4.5%, and it's been doing well over the last couple of days. We know the January and the February power sector demand has been strong in double digits in anticipation of a pickup now that, the summer is, really hot. But, markets tend to price things in advance. With the up move that we've seen in the stock over the last couple of days, has it priced in tactically strong performance over the next 2 quarters?
No, I think, Rima, if you see the kind of promise that the business has, given that it's one of the largest power producers and it continues to do it at very efficient scale and price, I think there's still much more to translate into gains. I mean, it's just that NTPC has had a checkered past in the in terms of volatility and regulatory environment not being very benign. But this time around, when you see even the Section 11 invocation by the government very clearly tells you that it's serious about making sure that there's no power shortages that bring the factory output to a standstill. And if that continues, NTPC will actually end up clocking such great revenue growth at very decent margins as well. So I'm very sure that this 180 or whereabouts that it'll start looking like decent value if you price in the fact that there's another 30-35% kind of an upside for the rest of for the next financial year, and that could mean that the re-rating will continue much further than just this last 2 weeks of this sparkle that you've seen. So there is much more to go, more legs to this rally, I'm sure. You'll probably look at about 210, 215 as a very achievable kind of a milestone in the next 2-3 quarters.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot for that, Prakash. As you said earlier, irrespective of markets, it's going to be a happy Friday. So wishing you a good Friday ahead as well. Well, we have some news that's flashing on the screen, and HUL has got a new boss in there, Mr. Rohit Java. Mangalam joins us to give us his first take on this appointment. Mangalam?
Well, this is an appointment on expected lines. There were reports that there were two contenders for this post, and now it is official that Rohit Java will be the new boss of Hindustan Unilever, and this is with effect from June 27, 2023. He's been appointed as the MD and CEO for 5 years. Remember, one of the triggers of the stock for this year was the impending change in leadership as Sanjeev Mehta superannuates. The important part, however, is that, Rohit Java, as most Unilever leaders have been Unilever lifers. He joined Unilever in 1988 as a management trainee. Thereafter, he's taken, a place, he's been positioned in various important places in Unilever as well. One of the most notable of them being he was the chairman of Unilever China, where he actually transformed the Unilever China business. And as a market, China retail market has been much bigger than India, so that sort of aggression is something that we're expecting here as well. And with his background in digital technologies, etc., everyone is looking at him integrating the traditional Kirana, traditional marketplace model in India with new age future looking technologies. So with that, it is basically a step in the right direction for Hindustan Unilever. I'll be watching out for the strategy that he makes, especially on the digital front, to take the company forward. For now, it is a big overhang on the stock gone. Now we have clarity on who leads the company for the next 5 years.
Okay, all right. Mangalam, thanks a lot for that. Well, let's move on then, and let's get chatting with Charandeep Singh as well as Varun